everyone, and welcome to this week's podcast. This week we are joined by a semester abroad student from France, and she's here to give her perspective on France versus the UK, UEA, and her time in the UK. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Fanny, and in France people often call me Fanilo, but I think it's easier to say Fanny. And yeah, I'm in a second year of undergraduation in economics, and I'm here for spring semester, and yeah.
So first little question, why are you at UEA? How did you end up here?
That's a good question. Firstly, I come from the University of Lorraine in Nancy, which is a university who has partnership with UEA, and I really wanted to go in England because I was so influenced about the film of Wall Street and everything about economics, and also in my home university. I am also a part of Erasmus Student Network, which is a society who organize events for Erasmus students. And for those who don't know, Erasmus is a European exchange project which allow you to study abroad or to do internships, and also at the same time receive some funds to do that. And I really loved being involved in the Erasmus Student Network, so I was thinking about why not me. And also I really loved the England economic system, so that's why.
Yeah, so going off of that a little bit, what are the kind of key differences that you've experienced from university in France compared to university in the UK?
Yeah, I think there are some differences. Firstly, in the numbers of modules. I don't know if it's just here in the UEA, but here I have 3 modules, but and everybody also has 3 modules per semester.
Yeah.
But in my home university, we have about 7 modules or more, and also apart from that, the location of the campus here, it's quite like more centered. Everything is in a same place, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And in France, the campus is almost everywhere, and it is divided by sectors. For example, I study in the faculty of economics, law and management, but there is also a campus faculty of sciences or medicines, and which is spread all over the city. And also about the campus kitchen, in France we have restaurant university, which is called Crous, and you pay like 3.5 euro per student, and you have like the whole meal, include the dessert. And for people who have scholarships, they are more likely they pay just 1 euro for the whole meal. And here the campus kitchen is more like it's very big, and you have like different kinds of choices and for different prices.
Yeah.
And about sports, I think the sport society has some similarities, like here, for example, we have the BDS, which is the I think the sport park here.
Yeah.
And you pay for a membership about 20 or 30 euro per month. If you really wanna be like in club, you go there. But if you just want to play for fun, there is, in the beginning of the year, every student pay CVEC, which is like fees for every activities in the campus. And since you pay this amount, I think it's about 105 euro, you have all the sports free, and also other activities organized by the university are all free since you pay that, which is interesting. And also about the examination, in France we the overall examination are all in persons, but here I see that it's more likely online, so you just have your laptop and you can do and then submit, and there are dates for submissions.
Yeah. No, it sounds interesting. So there is quite a few similarities in terms of you have the sports clubs, and you will kind of pay a membership fee, which is the same here. That they have the number of lectures that you have, and modules seems quite different. You have a lot more option with that. And then the fact that you have like different faculties within your university and around campus. Obviously we have the different faculties here, but yours sounds a bit more separated. Whereas for example, when you have lectures or seminars here, you know, we might be in the development school or the science school for our lectures, so it's a bit more kind of spread around campus. But that sounds really interesting. It's nice, because I had an Erasmus student here called Julia. She was from Italy, and she was based in Rome, and she was saying that there was absolutely no sports clubs because the city was the university was based so central in the city. They didn't have the type of facilities to be able to do that. So it sounds like your university in France is more similar to ours compared to hers, because you do have a bit more of a campus and the societies. So whilst you've been here, you got involved in the Ukrainian Women's Month workshop. So that was an online workshop that we did where we had students from UEA and students from Ukraine, and speaking a little bit about women in economics. So why did you decide to get involved with that? And you had a presentation which you delivered. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about your presentation and what that was about?
So as you said, the workshop was about the woman in resilient economy with the Ukraine University from Ukraine, CNU, the UEA, and I was invited as an exchange student here. And it was quite interesting. I talked more likely about how is my university is organized, and also the percentage of men and women in economics. For example, in undergraduation, women are 49% compared to the men, which are 51%, and in masters there are 66% of men, and 34% of women, and which is quite interesting to think about the representation of women in economics. And I was also talking a bit about my engagement in societies, in my home university. In my first year, I was quite involved in a society which promotes the double degree of law and economics, which is called Eden. And I was there because at my very first year of university, I was in a double degree of economics and law. But since then, I saw that I prefer economics, and the double degree was too much for me. Yeah, but I started to see how people organize things, and since then I was thinking about why not go in to other societies to organize other things also. So I was in the Erasmus Student Network Society to improve my language skills, which is really interesting. And also at the same time, I remarked the difference between the students in law and the students in economics. In law, there are so many women. It's like men are underrepresented compared in economics, which is for example, right now in my second year in France, 40% of students are women and 60% are men, which is a very big difference. And yeah, and at that time also I listened to how the university in Ukraine do, and how is the student in economics are represented, the men and women there, which is quite interesting because they really talk about, for example, on LinkedIn they say that women are more likely to apply for jobs that they're 100% sure about all of the requirements compared to men who just has 60% of requirements and they just apply. And they are also talking about the women in war, and yeah, and there were also you and Pema who talked about how UEA is organized and how is the representation of women in the UK, which is really interesting too. And yeah, I think there is a progress in terms of women in economics, but I think there's still a big gap and some things to change in the society.
Yeah, I agree. I think that maybe here the female versus male representation would probably be 70-30 in favour of the males. So a little bit more prominent on the male side in the UK versus France. I think it was really nice to learn that there's, a women-dominated field in law in France. I'm not 100% sure of the numbers here at UEA, but it's really nice to know that there may be more male-dominated fields at university level are being dominated by women. I think that shows a good change. And obviously the fact that we're getting involved in events like we did and showing women within the economy shows that, as a university and as a country, we're really getting involved in boosting women coming into economics and university as a whole. So I think that was a great thing to get involved with. So apart from university, there's then, after university, the transition from education to the labour market. What's your opinions on that transition and potentially the gender representation within that?
From the education to the labor market, there is a very big difference in terms of women representation, because women in education are very successful, and for example, in France, 55% of women in higher education, which is a very big percentage. And also, for example, in the UK, according to ONS, 60% of women also in higher education, and in Ukraine there are 55% and more in Ukraine, according to Eurostat, and which shows us that women are really involved in the studies. So from the education to the labor market, there's, for example, 37% of women are a part-time job compared to 14% of men in the UK, which is a very big difference. So like women are more likely doing part-time jobs. Mm-hmm. And also about the pay gap, there's still a big differences in France and in the UK. For example, in France, women hold only for example, in France, there's 15% of gender gap pay in last year. And also, for example, in the UK, 12.8% of pay gap across all the employees, according to the Office for National Statistics. And apart from the pay gap, there's also the fields that men are more represented than women. For example, in STEM, the women are less represented than men, but women are more likely in healthcare, educations, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is a very interesting topic to talk about. In my current module, Behavioural Economics of Inequality, there's quite a few of us groups talking about the gender pay gap and the misrepresentation of genders within industry. So healthcare is something that we've looked at, that actually there is, I think it was about 60% of women are in healthcare and 40% of men. But when it comes to leadership roles, there was only 39% of women within the leadership roles, as opposed to then the 61% of men. So even though there's less men within the industry, there's still more leaders that are men within the industry. So I think it's interesting that you talk about healthcare, and that the fact that it's rather similar in France, that there's also still a gender gap and a misrepresentation, and an issue that we continue to talk about and try to tackle through different policies and implementations. So it's really interesting to get your perspective on that from France and what it looks like there. So just talking about this introduction to the labour market, what are your next steps? You'll have another year of your degree, and then what will you do from there?
Yeah, so the thing is, the reason why I'm here also is to think about my next steps, and because I really have so many things in mind. I'm really interested in economics, and I think I will finish. I hope that I will finish my graduation on next year, and also after that I really want to continue until master. And right now I'm more and more interested in research, and I don't know, maybe I will continue until PhD about economics.
Oh wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and at the same time I still want to get involved in the university, also in the Erasmus student network. Yeah, right now I'm studying also Spanish, and I want to continue that, and learning languages also is very interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also like right now I'm still improving also my writing skills, and I wrote a little bit about the workshop.
Yeah, which will feature within the NEP.
Yeah,
and on the LinkedIn. Yeah, which is currently being processed. So it's really great that you're getting involved. So obviously you've come over to UEA and the UK.
Yeah.
How have you found the Erasmus programme, and would you recommend it to other students?
I think I will absolutely recommend it because, for example, next year I think the UK will be a part of it, and I think exchanges are always interesting because you know more about yourself, you discover something that you didn't know that you will like, or yeah, for example, I never think that if I go here I will be in this podcast, or yeah. And before I went here, when I said to the Erasmus responsible that I really want to go to England, he was quite scared because I think since Brexit nobody went here and from my university, and he said that okay, if you were really sure about your skills and so go for it, like yeah. But also think also about other alternatives, but I think this is quite interesting because it challenged me to why not,
good for you. Yeah.
So I think it's very
something you'd recommend. Sounds very, very interesting to have an opportunity to visit somewhere new, learn how the system works and what you do. Would you ever consider going to Spain to practice your Spanish?
Yeah, I have some friends from the Erasmus Students Organization, and I really want to visit them in summer, and to talk in Spanish. It's still in progress. But
And what's maybe been one of the favourite things that you've experienced whilst being in the UK?
Oh, that's really interesting. I think the most interesting. There are so many good things that I learned from
That's good. That's really good to hear.
For example, at the first time I was so scared because I really wanted to learn more about the financial system here. Yeah. So I took the module about corporate finance and also programming. Yeah. And I've never do programming in my life, and which is quite challenging. But I see that the more I get into it, the more I really like it. And I also really loved my other module, regional integration, because we did group works and I had friends from group work, and also there are so many activities here about connecting each other. So I had a lot of friends from the UK and also from all over the world too, which is really interesting.
Oh, that's lovely to have all them connections over the world.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Makes a lot of places to visit, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, Fanny, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. It's been really great to talk about your experience in the UK and how you've found being over here for a semester. And I hope you join us in another podcast soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so great. I'm so glad that you invited me here. Yeah,
Thank you.